Hi, this is Tita Buxton. The channel is called Construction Quantity Surveying Channel. From what we've been doing in the past 4 sessions, we've been doing what we call building up or preparation of bills of quantities. That is what we've been doing in the past 4 sessions, and it's different in the sense that we've been doing it from the start, that is from the scratch, using the drawings that we've been given. The drawings that for instance the one that has been presented alongside the Excel sheet. In these sessions, for the ones that we've done, we started from the beginning of our bills of quantities, not leaving out any other unnecessary items that should be included. Today I would like us to go straight into now builder's work. For what we've done what we call cover page. We've done the preliminaries, which are also very crucial, and it's also worth noting that we've been doing now those very crucial items that need to be included. Of course, they are not all the preliminary items were covered, but then you have seen now how you can separate your work, how you can also learn your editing with your editing of the bills of quantities using the Excel, and also applying those simple shortcuts that can help you save a lot of time. Straight to business. Today we are going to cover what we call builder's work. From what we've been doing now also showing you the editing as we move along. So today, after you've done the preliminaries, and of course you've stated that the summations, the total of what you've got for your preliminaries is going to be carried to grand summary. That is very right. So we need to have another cover that is showing us builder's work. So the next step is just you can just copy this. Let me just try to stretch this a bit so that you can see it well. So what you do, I need to copy a cover that is going to show me builder's work. Okay, cover for the builders work. So what you do, just right click on this. You can right click on the ones that you had made for the covers. Right click, and then you say move or copy. Okay, this is a GP cover. That is the one that I want to copy, and then you create a copy. Okay, so once you've highlighted that and you've done your selection of what you want copied, then you just drag it aside to where you want it to be placed, then double click, then you can say this is now builder's work cover. Okay, so you don't need to write it in full, as long as you are able to understand your abbreviations. So BW means builder's work. So this is section 2. You remember section 1 was preliminaries, so this is section 2, and we name it builder's work. So that is builders works. So section 2 is builders works. Then the next point is now we are now going to create a sheet that is going to enable us to do now the various sections of that builders work, including taking note of descriptions. So what we'll do, as always, I always want to show, because you can see this Excel sheet, it's quite blank as it is. It does not show you where does your pages end, or the breaks for the pages. Therefore, from the view tab, I go to page break preview. Okay, so from the page break preview, then I get back to normal, then I will see the page break at this point. Okay, so that means my page should be ending at this that is now just beside the I. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll make sure that I get this part from the very beginning. I want to merge this so that my title for all the pages is going to be similar to what I have at the cover page. So I just highlight all that, and then I merge those cells. So when you want to merge, it's always here, that is at the home tab. Then you'll see merge and center. Okay, so merge and center, then I click equal sign. So what I want is the description of the title from the cover page. So I go to the cover page, then enter. Okay, whenever you see it spilling, then it means it's going over 2 or more sets. So you just delete one of the items, one of the references cells, which is showing it beyond what it should cover. So that is where that particular title should be. Then from here, then straight away what I need to do is demarcating or giving those specific columns that I need. So what I do is column 1 is always having what you call item. Okay, it's more or less the same as what we had in our preliminaries, but the only difference is that you realize that the preliminaries we didn't have columns for items like rows and so on. So in that case, in this for this one, I need to have all those rows. So this is item, and then I have what we call description. That is a description, and then I also need to have what we call the unit. Okay, so you just need to balance these items here. This is a description. So in your description, then at the very end, so you can start with this so that you see how to balance the rest of the items. This is the amount, and then of course here you need to have the rate, and then you need to have quantity. Okay, you can either have it in full or in abbreviation depending on how you are going to balance your items and they are going to be looking like when at the end of the day. Okay, and then then this is the unit. Okay, so it means you already have item, description, unit, quantity, rate, and amount. So of course, as you are formatting a document, you also need to show what you have in terms of what you should have in terms of the font. Okay, so our font, we've been using what we call the Century Gothic. So that is what we've been using, font 11. Okay, font 11. So just you can just confirm so that your document should be very much, yeah, Century Gothic font 11. The document should be having a uniform font all through. Okay, so looking at this, you can see, of course, you understand that item is just going to be having the letters, that is A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, and so on, depending on how many items you have. But then you realize that description, under the description, it's going to be more elaborate. So you need to have a bigger column for the description. So you just you can just stretch. Of course, at the amount can be a little bigger, so you can check for what you have for the amount, and then you balance the rest. So in this case, this is the unit. Okay, to even ease your work further, what you can also do alternatively, you can make sure this is column 1, then this is column 2. Then you can make the rest of these of your items to be just beside here, so that, okay, let me just copy it here so that I save on time. Just copy and paste there, then you delete the rest of the items, you delete these other ones, so that when you just stretch this on, it's going to be already merged, so that you don't need to have those numerous cells and then you merge them as you go on. So you just stretch this one that way. Okay, so item is here, description, unit, quantity, but then I wanted that amount, the column for amount, be a little bigger, and then these other ones, quantity. Okay, you can just highlight those ones. I need these ones to be a little smaller. Okay, so this is the quantity. You can just have it in abbreviation as that. Then that is the rate, that is the amount. Then you just drag the description column. Okay, just have your cursor at that point, then try to drag it all along, so that that column is a little bigger. Okay, and then the amount is also here. So you can always you can just test. So for instance, you're having you can have like 25 million. That is just to test so that that column is fitting. Okay, you will see that it's, so you can have a test of that nature. So in this point you realize that now the figure there can fit, so that is just ideal for that. And then for your rate, you can say a rate of let me say this is 15,000. So you can have such a rate, and of course you can divide and have no, yes, you can what I've done, I've just entered the figure there of those are five figures. So the 5 figures, then you highlight. Okay, you can do it for the both of them, and then you go to, this is under home tab, under the number, you will see, you do that. Okay, then you realize that it's overlapping, but then this other one, you don't need to have it two decimal places, so you can remove the 2 decimal places, so it's back that way. Then you stretch that way, just double click, then it sets itself. So for the quantity, which is the bigger figure that you might have, let me say you can have even can say 10,000. Then you just do the rest just to test what you're having in that manner. Okay, so for instance that way. And then unit. So for the unit, you can have units like kgs, unit like meters, and so on. So you're just right to have those other ones in that size. Okay, then I need everything to be centered. Okay, yes, centered in that order. Alright, then I need I can make this to be at the side, so this is just basically edited that way. And then description, you can also have it at the center, and then alright, no, I can want this to be to the side, and then item to be at the center. Alright, then this title, you realize that it's overstretching beyond what you have on the page, and you don't want it to be that way, so you just click on it, and then now unmerge. Okay, when you unmerge, then you now redo everything depending on how your page is now looking like. You highlight the whole of it, then you merge and center. Okay, when you do that, then you have your document looking that way. So you can always test just by stretching a little bit to see if what you have, just to test. So in this point you'll be having items like A, B, C, D, and so on. So you realize that what you have here, you have, this is A, this is okay, the description will be longer, but then you've now tested the rest of the items. This is the unit, quantity, rate, amount. You've tested that and found out that they're going to be fitting in just well. So that is very fine with that. So the next thing, after you've found out that your columns are going to be okay, then you can now delete these other items. Okay, so what you are doing is basically just to test, but you can have a preview and check how it's looking like on the page at the point when you shall have printed. So just zoom in well and check. Alright, perfect. So that is how your page is going to be looking like. Alright, so the next thing, what you do, let's just I always like it when the unprintable part. Okay, you can leave it that way and go on with it. So these are how the page is looking like, and of course at the bottom of the page you will need to have total. So in this case, of course, we are going to start with the substructures. So you will just state, at this point you can have a common statement carried to collection. So you can always have carried to collection or carried forward depending on what you decide. Okay, so for instance, of course this will be guided with what you have. For instance, if the substructure is overlapping to the next page, then you'll be having total carried to, you can have the total carried to collection, or you can have total carried forward. So that is entirely on you. So for instance, if I state that total carried forward, then it means for this particular page, the data that you have there is going to be carried to the carried forward to the next page. Okay, so that by the point that you are getting to the final page of the substructures, then you are going to have a total that is now going to be carried to summary. So this is normally just entirely on you. Alright, so I prefer total carried to collection. Okay, so depending on whatever item that you'll be having, so if it's a collection for substructures, collection for doors, collection for windows, and so on, that is entirely on you to decide how you go about that. Alright, so you are having that, and then you can do this. You can also you can merge this so that you have currency. Okay, or rather you can have the currency stated in this point just beside the amount. So whichever currency that you're dealing with, you just state it there, and you are going to be just okay with it. So just to reiterate the same, for what we've been using in terms of measurements, we are using what we call standard methods of measurements. So lest you forget about that. Okay, so that is our reference. And then okay, this is carried to collection. So it means at the bottom here we are going to have our summations, and the summation, just do equal sign, then you just start writing a equal sign and then sum. As long as soon as you start typing the prefixes, then that dialog box pops up. Then you select sum, double click. Okay, when you double click, you pick the range in which you want your figures to be summed up. So just stretch it that way up to that point, then you close, enter. Okay, then I need this to be bold as it is. Okay, alright, so I would like to make borders. As it is, it's not looking very good, so I need to just make the borders so that it looks even better. So for the borders, just highlight that particular page as I have done. Then when you right click that dialog box, go to format cells. When you format the cells, it's going to come another dialog box. Then you go to border. So this is what you do, just make it that way, do it that way, and then one at the center. So in my working, I don't prefer I don't prefer having so many lines, I mean at the bottom of every sentence. Okay, so that is how you go about that. Alright, so after that, then you can also underline these other ones. So in this case, you don't need to, not every time you'll be going to that format cells dialog box. You can just do it even at the home tab. At the home tab, then go to this is bottom border. So at the bottom border, you have it already indicated at that already shown there. So here at the summations, you can have top and bottom border, or you can have top and double bottom border. Okay, so you can have it that way. So those are the entirely tips that it's you to decide how you'd like them to be. Okay, so that is how I would like mine to be, and I believe that it's making more sense looking that way. Alright, so this is that was a setting. You can always check on your preview just to make sure that the document that you're making is looking good as it should be. And from here, you can always notice those statements, sentences that are overlapping, and so on. and as far as this is concerned, it's still looking very okay, and that is what you would wish to have. All right, so once you've formatted your pages, then it means you are good to go. Normally you won't be able to format a whole document before you start entering the descriptions and the items, because you don't know how they are going to be overlapping and so on. So it's always important that just work on this one page, and then as you'll be moving on to the subsequent pages, then you can always just copy this and edit in the next pages as you go on. All right, but then something that I also need not to forget doing is these are two items. I need to, from the first two rows, that is row 1 and row 2, I need to repeat those rows in the subsequent pages. Okay, so that one there is not any restriction, or it won't hinder you to do any other thing going forward. So just highlight those two. Okay, I want them to be copied in the subsequent pages. So highlight, then you go to page layout tab, print titles. Okay, when you print the titles, you are going to be shown that option. So when you have that dialog box, just highlight those are rows. All right, so they're already highlighted. It shows you here 1 and 2, those are the rows, and then click OK. So when you do so, it's going to show you every page, every subsequent next page where you're going to have an item that is printable. You will see those particular titles repeated on it. You can just try and see. That is now the next page. There are two pages here. Okay, so for the next page, you can see that the particular title and also the two titles have been repeated there. So that is what I want to be shown. Right, so we are on. What we'll do, we'll go to straight away to substructures. Okay, we'll go straight away to substructures. So I'll repeat that it's normally depending on how you wish your document to be looking like. So you might need that. You know that this is section 2. Okay, so section 2, it has got various content. Okay, so in some cases you might wish to state the content of what you want to be here. Okay, so in this case you can always state it this way. So this is for instance bill 01. Okay, then you go to bill 02. Right, so you can when you highlight that and copy, it's going to give you the rest of the items. Okay, so this is you can have these are bills. So this is bill 01, bill 02, bill 03, bill 04. Okay, bill 05, depending on how many items you're having here. So at bill 01, right, so you will state the types of the content that you have for your section number 2. So this is contents. All right, so just making sure that you show exactly what you have in that particular point. So I can do this to be just 01. Okay, so that at 01 I'll be having bill number 01, and that is going to be substructures. Then bill number 2, I'm going to have superstructures. Superstructure, concrete works. So these are the items that we are going to be covering at the builders work. That is section 2. Then number 3, you will have walling. After the walling, you can either have doors or windows, depending on how you want to cover that. So let's talk about doors. Then we will see about windows. And then at number 6, we'll talk about, for the project that we are doing, for the drawing that we are using here, it's going to, it's an apartment, okay, and the apartment with the flat concrete roof in this case. So it means the roof work is going to be covered under what we have here, what we have for the superstructure concrete works, okay. Then after we've done this, then we'll look at what we call rainwater disposal. Out of the rainwater disposal, then at number 7 we'll see into actually we can have that here, we can have it as number 6, finishes, sorry, so we can have it as finishes, and rainwater disposal. Alright, so that is the content of what we are intending to cover for the builders work section. We are intending to cover the substructures, superstructure concrete works, walling, doors, windows, finishes, and the rainwater disposal. So this one we can make that to be bold, and then of course never forget to change your font. It's easier to have you going along with the right formatting standard that you need throughout, rather than doing it later on when you are already done. It will become very, very hectic. So it's very, very crucial that you do this, you do the editing works as you move along. Okay. All right. So that is what we have for the content of the builder's work. As usual, keep checking of how your document is looking like. It's very, very important. It makes you move in unison with what you are doing as it goes. Alright, so we have all that stated out. So it means we are going to have this is sheet 1. Name this is builder's work, builder's works. You have it there. Alright, so at this very first point, you are going to have bill 01, okay, substructures. Okay, so these are just you to make sure that you are editing your document looking very, very good, and you make that to be bold. Okay. All right, so you've already shown what you need to cover, and exactly now the roadmap that you're going to be using to cover everything that is supposed to be covered. And remember, as you move along, as you enter the items and so on, keep checking how your pages are looking like, so that at the end of the day you have a document that is not going to give you hard time in editing while you are done with the project, or you're done with the preparation of the bills of quantities. So straight away, we've been using in our previous sessions, that is why it's so important that some of the background videos for the preparation of bills of quantities are attached, are existing in my channel. Okay, so for the viewers who are joining us for the first time, those who are new to this channel, I would advise that please go back and get some background information in the previous videos, because what we've been doing is something that is building on top of what we've been doing all from the start. Okay, so if you have that, then please just get back so that you have your background well in order in terms of the knowledge we've been doing for the bills of quantities. Okay. All right, so having stated that, then we'll move on. So in under substructures, it's always subdivided into various subsections, okay, for the substructures. And as usual, there are those that are going to be the starting items. Okay, so for the very first item, you will start with at item number A. Okay, we are going to be doing what we call site clearance. So there are those that would wish that you have every item having a title, but then you realize that your document is going to be having so many subtitles. So at some point you would wish that you just have, for instance, in this point, straight away you go to the item that needs to be done. Okay, clear sight of all bushes. Alright, so you state your description. That is now site clearance. Alright, then you can see how it's looking like, and you don't want it that way, so just click on that cell and wrap up that description the way we've done it there. So clear sight of all bushes, including grabbing up their roots and cut away from site. Okay, what is the unit? You can do your unit in capital letters. Unit is going to be square meters. Okay, then now it's our work to get quantity, and then of course filling in the rates will be coming later on. Of major focus to in these set of sessions are what we call deriving the quantities for this particular work. So clear sight of all bushes, including grabbing up their roots and cut away. That is the description. In case you're wondering how we are coming up with that, we had made a summary of the substructure items. Actually, we have made a summary of all the items, including the superstructure, because we went through the standard methods of measurements comprehensively from the start to the end. And that is why it's also important that if you are getting us for the first time, please just do a little catch up with the items that we had covered in the previous videos. They are giving you all these items. But if that is not the point, then worry no more, because as we are doing the items one by one, we are also going to be recapping on those that we had measured in terms of the units. So site clearance is here, square meters. Alright, square meters. So if you want to make a reference for the bills of quantity from the standard methods of measurements, then it's at section D4, number C. Okay. Alright, so the drawing that we are using is this. Let me just get the drawing. The drawing is here. I'm just using a basic PDF reader. Okay, this is called Foxit PDF. So you can have even Adobe PDF, it doesn't matter, or you can print your document into hard copy, depending on what is very easy for you. Alright, so this is just a basic PDF reader that I'm using, and I want to use this to build the quantities for our bills of quantities. So I'm going to be showing it side by side so that you are able to see it quite properly and able to relate how we do these items. So because we are using Excel, and I won't imagine that you're now having to write it down somewhere in your paper or something else, I would wish that at the side, because Excel, that's why we even had the page break, so that Excel gives you a portion just at the side. Alright, doing it at the side is important because you can always follow up in case you've made a mistake somewhere, follow up and be able to correct, so you get to make an easy reference of how you arrived at your figures. So just at the side, you can have a section where you are getting the quantities. Okay, so in this point, I just want to calculate the quantities just at the side here. Alright, so what do? I need to get the square meters for the site clearance. Alright, so just at the side here, equal sign, then you read your plan. This is the plan that we are using for your site clearance and foundation. Get to the plan, the foundation layout. Alright, this is normally from the structural engineer foundation layout. So this is the plan that we are using. Alright, you have it there, very well. Get to the plan, then you check. Okay, so normally, because in this case, you see, for instance, in this particular layout, you realize that what you have, you've been shown now the layout of the bases. Alright, So just let me just also zoom it in well. So these are bases. You can see B1, C1, this is 2300 by 2000 and so on. Okay, so just if you check well, you notice those are bases. All right, you get to that other page, you can see what they mean and how they are looking like. Okay, so these are just bases. So as we learn also how to read those particular plan, then we just get back and confirm. Now you need a length. Okay, you need a length. So for the length on this case, you'll notice you should be able to read it from the grids, so that when you draw a line, for instance at grid 10, the second grid 10, you can see grid 10s are two of them. From the grid 10, then the line is cutting all through beside at a different number of columns. You see C1, it's moving that manner. Okay, and then it's coming up to the end of this other part. Okay, and then that is now our length. For our width, you also need to confirm how does it go. You can see it's this is from grid A1 to grid H1. Okay, so that means those are the dimension that we are going to use for us to get our area. So for what we call the length, we are seeing it here, it's 12.4 to the external parts, right? So the 12.4 is the length. So alternatively, just for ease of work, so you can have, you don't need to write so many notes or here, you can just write abbreviation so that you know you are also computing time. And then this is the width. So at your length, what do you have? You indicate it there. Okay, so on my length we have 12.4. Just zoom it in for you to see it properly. 12.4. So that is what you are looking for whenever you are doing that particular this particular drawing. 12.4. Then what do you have as your width? 9.2. Okay, do it in meters, so that when you get your square meters, the area at the side, it's easier for you to you don't need to convert the figures into square meters, if at all you've done them in linear meters, in millimeters, that is. Okay, so you notice that what we have in this case, it's 9200. The drawings are normally done in millimeters, unless otherwise. You can always check to the side, the notes to the side of that structural engineer's drawing. It's always indicated. If it's indicated that the dimensions are not given in millimeters, then you will notice. But for this case, these ones are given in millimeters. Okay, so we have our length and we have our width. The total of that, the summation of that, just do equal sign times this cell times that cell, gives you the total. Okay, so normally you round it up to the next nearest whole number. So 114 should be 115 square meters. Okay, and there we go. We have it already in terms of the area that we need for our site clearance. So it's as straightforward as that. This is just a basic reader. Just stretch it, be able to zoom in, check the endpoints of that particular plan. Of course, make sure that what you have for site clearance should be covering now to the external parts, external faces of what you have in terms of the building, and these columns are what showing you the external areas of the external dimensions of this particular building. Of course, you read using a grid as well. Alright, so that should bring us to the end of our session today. Of course, majorly we've focused on editing, where we've just given our contents. We've decided what the things that we need to measure for this particular plan, and we've done that quite in depth. Then we've also managed to cover the site clearance. We've got the area, and we've seen how that is done. So that should just mark this particular session, and we await for the next upcoming sessions where we are going to do the rest. So for those of you who are wondering whether we'll be able to cover everything, the answer is yes. For this particular plan, we are going to measure everything in it. Okay, so we've just started with the site clearance, Then we go to the mass excavations, we go to excavation for the bases, excavation for the strips, and so on until it's completed. All right, so that is it. I want to say thank you very much. For side jobs, including tutoring, including bills of quantities, and so on, please do not hesitate. My contact is at the description. I'm always open to such jobs and we can work together. Thank you very much, and I'm positive that your viewing and your time was worthwhile. Looking forward very much to the next session. Have a great time. Bye bye.